Welcome back. We have seen how the Grecian kingdom from Alexander broke into the 4 kingdoms, but these 4 dissolved into only 2. Lysimachus conquered Cassander, but then Seleucus was stronger than Lysimachus. Therefore, Seleucus had all the kingdoms of the north of Palestine, whereas Ptolemy retained Egypt. Now, there's even a deeper foundation to lay here. We can see that Babylon, the capital city of Seleucus, becoming of the king of the north, and Egypt being the south. So whosoever from now henceforth conquers Babylon, they become the king of the north, and the same applies to Egypt. Back to our verses. In every bit of the following verses, the words in bracket will be explaining the preceding phrases. So we will read the verse and then explain it. Verse 5. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. This king of the south was Ptolemy the first, reigning from 323 to 380 BC. He conquered many cities and annexed them to Egypt. One of these princes means one of the princes of Alexander the Great, who was Seleucus the first, reigning from 312 to 281 BC, already mentioned above. We have already seen how Seleucus has conquered all the Grecian Empire. Thus, his dominion is a great one compared to Ptolemy. Verse 6. And in the end of years they shall join themselves together, for the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the power of the arm, neither shall he stand, nor his arm, but she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begat her, and he that strengthened her in these times. Now, this verse refers to Ptolemy II, Philadelphus, and Antiochus II, Theos. Ptolemy gave his daughter Berenice to Antiochus as a peace treaty through marriage, and they agreed that Antiochus should divorce and keep his wife Laodice. When it gets to this phrase, but she shall not retain the power of the arm, this phrase talks about Berenice. Berenice did not become the sole wife of Antiochus, but Antiochus brought back Laodice and her children. Now, after Laodice comes back, he ensures that he's never again to be disgraced in such a way. So she kills his husband, Berenice's son with Antiochus, and all the entourage from Egypt that took Berenice there. Verse 7. But out of a branch of her roots shall one stand up in his estate, which shall come with an army, and shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail. This verse talks about of a branch, and this branch was Berenice's brother, Ptolemy III, Euergetes, reigning from 246 to 221 BC. He succeeded his father Philadelphus, and Ptolemy raised an army to avenge his sister. He attacked the then king of the north, Seleucus III, Callinicus, who reigned from 225 to 223 BC. This was the son to Laodice. He also killed Laodice and conquered and reigned in Syria. Verse 8. And shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods, and with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and of gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north. Hearing that the sedition was raised in Egypt required Euergetes to return home, he plundered the kingdom of Seleucus, taking 40,000 talents of silver and precious vessels, and 2,500 images of the gods. The phrase that he continued more than the king of the north means that Callinicus died in exile, so Euergetes lived longer. We transition to verse 9. So the king of the south, Euergetes, shall come into his kingdom and shall return into his own land. Verse 10, but his sons shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come, and overflow, and pass through. And shall he return, and be stirred up, even to his fortress. This verse speaks of sons. These were Seleucus III, this is Serranus Sota, and Antiochus III, Magnus, sons of Callinicus. These both entered with zeal upon the work of vindicating and avenging the cause of their father and their country in the previous verses. Antiochus Magnus was the strongest and able king. Serranus first took the throne but was poisoned because of weakness and couldn't keep his army in check. The one being referred to as one shall certainly come was Magnus, who took back Seleucia under his reign. And the verse says, he shall overflow and pass through. Verse 11, and the king of the south shall be moved with choler, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. And he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. Let's reread this verse with the explanation. And the king of the south, this is Ptolemy the fourth, Philopator, succeeded Eucrates his father in the year 221 to 203 BC, shall be moved with choler. He is stirred up with the threat of invasion from Magnus, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. Philopator heads to Magnus to face him in the Battle of Raphia in the year 217 BC. And he, this part refers to Magnus, the king of the north, shall set forth a great multitude. The army of Antiochus, according to Polybus, amounted on this occasion to 62,000 foot, 6,000 horse, and 102 elephants. But this multitude shall be given to his hand. This hand refers to Philopator. 10,000 foot and 3,000 horse were slain by Philopator, and over 4,000 men were taken prisoners. Verse 12, and when he hath taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000, but he shall not be strengthened by it. Let's reread this verse once more. When he, this refers to Philopator, has taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up. Pride overcame him and paraded a victory. And he shall cast down many 10,000. This phrase means he went to Jerusalem and desired to enter into the most holy place, but was restricted according to the law. He was furious, and later 40,000 according to Eusebius, 60,000 according to Jerome, Jews were slain in this massacre. But he shall not be strengthened by it. He was despised by his subjects to the point of revolt till his death, which was caused by drunkenness and debauchery. Verse 13, for the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years, with a great army and with much riches. We reread, for the king of the north shall return. This Magnus came after consolidating his kingdom and was now at leisure for any new enterprise, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former. We remember the initial army, right? And shall certainly come after certain years. This time was a time of peace between Philopator and Magnus, which lasted 14 years. So all this came to happen after the 14 years. Verse 14, and in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. Now we are going to break this verse into two phrases and explain each separately. The first, and in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Why do you have many people coming against the king of the south at this point? Philopator died leaving a young boy, 5 years of age, Ptolemy V, Epiphanes. Here, anyone and everyone is interested in Egypt. It's a park of opportunists. First, Magnus of the North sees a great opportunity and will not relax his army just because of a young boy. He even goes an extra mile to make an alliance with Philip, king of Macedon, that he also might get a portion of the kingdom. Not those two alone. Agathocles, Ptolemy's prime minister, was conducting affairs of Egypt on behalf of this young boy, but was also interested in the kingdom. So seditions arose in Egypt, but Agathocles ended up being killed by the Alexandrians. Now to the second phrase. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision. Here, another key kingdom comes to light. They are described as robbers of thy people, and they come to establish a vision. The only vision we know of is the vision of the rise and fall of kingdoms of Daniel 2, 7 and 8. Going back to the vision, the kingdom that came after the 4 horns in Daniel 8 verse 9 was the little horn. In Daniel 7, it came after the 4 heads, the terrible beast in Daniel 7. Now in chapter 2, we see the legs of iron. Definitely this kingdom is Rome. We will pause here, and in our next episode we're going to see the rise of this kingdom, Rome, and see how they come to power. Be blessed.